Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW philosopher. In today's video, I would like to talk about the subject of marriage. That's right, marriage. Why it's a bad idea and why you should not do it. Now, there's a lot of reasons why marriage is an absolutely horrible idea for a man. Now, sure, there used to be a time when marriage was a good idea, back in the 1950s and early 60s, before that second wave of feminism came about. But now, you'd have to be crazy to want to get married, or retarded. Now, the truth is, most men that get married today are just wholly ignorant of the problems involved for a man with getting married. They're not very well clued into what is going on in society, and they still have in their heads this outmoded idea of what marriage is. And most of these guys that do get married and aren't aware, they still think that this is something that is good for them. They don't know about the negatives. But I think most men today will get married, they just do it because they think that that's what they're supposed to do. Their parents expect them to do it, their extended family expects them to do it, society expects them to do it, and people in large part have become sheep. And so they do what they feel is expected of them without thinking. This is kind of what a sheep is. Go left, point left, they go left, right, right. You know? And so people, men, are still getting married in really too large a number. And the only way that change is going to be affected in society to help men and to change the way the laws are structured, which just about all of them are anti-male, is going to require less and less and less men getting married. Only until very few men get married are women going to say, oh, wait a second now, okay, we need to make things a little more friendly for men. And only then will the laws get changed, because right now it's women who are in power, because they make up the majority of the voting base, so all the laws are structured to help them. Not to mention the fact that the establishment wants women getting married, and they want to make it easy for them to get divorced, so there's a greater transfer of wealth from men to women. And that's what they want. That's what the left wants. That's what the establishment wants, because then those women, they spend that money. Men tend to save, women tend to spend. That's what the establishment wants. More and more and more debt. And women, they love debt. And as anybody out there knows, especially if you're an American, we live in a debt-based society. So the establishment does not want the money in the hands of the men. They want it in the hands of women. So really, marriage is the perfect tool for that and for creating more debt. So marriage right now is a horrible deal for a man. So let's talk about some of the things you do get with marriage, okay? Yeah, silence, nothing. You don't get anything. So the only real reason to get married is if you really, really want kids. And even then, it's not for you, it's for the kids. But honestly, I say even that, not a good enough reason. Because a man can be a father. I would say adoption is a better option. If you want kids, if you're a man. And consequently, for those who believe that single parents are, in every case, a form of child abuse, only if it's a woman. New studies are coming out now that show that men raising children do as good a job as a two-parent household. That's right. Women, it's turning out, are a detriment to children these days with feminism and man-hating. Not a plus, but a minus. So it's turning out that man, with his grasp of logic, reason, and much better impulse control, can take a woman's place with no problem. But a woman, no way can she take a man's place. So yet again, a man is undervalued in the position that he offers and the stability that he offers in a relationship. Women don't need a man. No, they do. They need help. They need the state. Yeah, they get the state, but they do need a man too. Marriage is just a big scam. okay? Women have been taught to undervalue men and to essentially get married and have been given no roadblocks to divorce. It's very easy to get divorced. It's not like it used to be where there was a fault divorce where you had to prove some kind of established fault, meaning the prescribed reasons that existed within law to justify divorce. And so you had to have a good reason. So it used to be much more difficult to get divorced, but now, you know, if you get married to a bitch and one day you stand up to her and she gets pissed off, she can just say, I don't need you. And she can leave, take half your stuff, and take your kids. And maybe you'll never see them again. But you'll get your money. And depending on how long you've been married and where you live, you might end up paying forever. So that's problem number one. Yeah, no bonuses for a man. But let's look at the problems. Divorce, what I was just talking about. So more than 50% of marriages now end in divorce. So there's no guarantee. She can just walk out. Don't like him? Goodbye. Well, what is that? Problem number two. You lose your privacy. If you get married, say goodbye to having any time alone. I mean, unless she wants to be alone, of course. But when she wants to be alone is when you're not going to want to be alone. See, that's the thing. Women like to exert their power in relationships, and they'll do it whenever you want your free time, when you want your privacy. But when she wants her privacy, don't bother her. If it's clear you want yours, she's going to be vacuuming that floor. She's going to be puttering around you. So because women are insecure, and right now you want your free time, you have to sacrifice something you want to prove to her you love her. And you do this once, it's not enough. You have to continually prove that you care for this person. It doesn't last. It's like a quick heroin fix, essentially. And so it wears off, and the next day you'll have to do the same thing to prove your love and adoration for the golden vagina. So, brings me to number three, a loss of freedom. You like doing what you want. You like watching ESPN and football on Monday night, or watching college football on Sunday morning. Well, say goodbye to that. Because once you get married, gone. I mean, unless she's a big football fan, what are the odds of that? What are the odds of a woman liking sports? Huh? Say goodbye to your freedom. Because anything you want to do, she either won't want to do it or she'll want to come along. So hanging out with your friends. And that's reason number four. You'll lose your friends. It's perfectly okay for her to have friends. Oh yeah, whatever. I'm going to go out with my friends and do stuff. But you? No. Because if you're the man of the house and you're making more money, or you're the breadwinner, you're out all day working, she doesn't see you. So when she can see you, she wants to see you. She doesn't want you going out with your buddies and having fun without her. Women are very selfish in that regard. They really, really want you to only have fun with them. They don't want you having fun without them. Oh no, can't have that. So you will lose your freedom and you will lose your friends. Now, back to divorce. If you get divorced, and there's a more than 50-50 chance that you will. It's even higher if you get married younger. But if you get divorced, and it's a big if, and I don't know about you, if I was jumping out of an airplane and it was a 50-50 chance that my parachute might not open, I would not be jumping out of that motherfucking airplane. I would be sitting in my seat. I'm okay. Let's go back to the airfield. I'm perfectly fine not jumping out. It's too big a risk. So if you have kids with this person, you're going to get attached to them, and if you get divorced, you may never see them again. But you'll still have to pay. So, yeah. That's another good reason not to get married. Next reason, alimony. This outdated concept that women somehow need help from you once they're no longer there. And it's funny because there's a hypocrisy about this. And again, this will change once women start to get the equality that they still don't have, actually. You see, because only 3% of women, only 3% of those who are paying alimony are women. So women are perfectly fine with alimony. And everywhere that measures come up to put limits on it or possibly abolish it, shut down by the feminist politicians because the women voters don't want that. Of course they don't. It's a lottery ticket, especially if you married a guy who has money. You could be getting paid for years. If you're in California, for example, and married more than 10 years, you'll be getting money forever. So it's not equal, and it's not fair. Of course, life isn't fair, but it will be eventually. Women want equality, and right now they have equality for everything that's good, and they don't have very much in the way of consequences in regards to the bad aspects of equality. But it'll get there. Eventually it'll get to 50-50. And when it does, women will be the ones clamoring to do away with alimony because it's unfair, it's unjust. Right, you think that only because you're the one paying now. So, but until that happens, men are going to have very little ability to get rid of these laws. It's going to have to be women. They're the ones with the vote. We gave them the power when we gave them the right to vote. And there's always been more of them in society anyway because we kill each other in wars, us men. The women ain't the ones going off to fight, even though they're equally responsible for any wars we have in the decision-making process. So, and it's been proven that women are more violent than men. So, when it comes to societies going to war, women are equally responsible for the choices to go, but they don't suffer the consequences in terms of equality. They will soon enough, though. They're pushing to be let into combat, just like men. This will totally destroy our military, of course, but that's another video. So, alimony. Next reason. She gets fat. She gets fat. If you get married, she will get fat. It's almost guaranteed. Not every woman, but most of them. Enough that it's just not worth it. You see, before you get married, she has an incentive to look good. She has an incentive to put on the makeup and to dress nice and to exercise, not eat too much and not to be lazy because, she hasn't gotten you to sign that contract yet that will allow her to take half your shit. And to get that nice ring that she can pawn afterwards and cash out. So she has an incentive to look good. Now, women are, of course, the laziest creatures on earth. We all know this. And if they have no incentive to look good, they're not going to look good. I mean, this is just simple logic. Why men don't get this? I mean, I guess it's because they've become so feminized and haven't learned to really use their critical thinking skills that these simple things don't occur to most young men these days. But I'm telling you guys, don't get married because then she'll have no incentive to look good and she'll just start eating Haagen-Dazs all day. And before you know it, she'll be a land whale. And unless you like screwing land whales, well, you probably should stay single. So, next reason. She has no incentive to behave. What do I mean by that? Well, as all men know, women are like children. Sounds condescending? No, it's reality. The majority of women are like little children. They don't have to grow up. They're babied their whole lives these days. They're treated like they're special and superior. They're very entitled. They get everything they want. So, why would they need to grow up? They don't grow up. They don't face the real equality that men do. They're not exposed to nearly as many difficulties in life. And so they don't mature to the extent that they're a real adult in most cases. So they need incentives to behave. They have very poor impulse control too, by the way, which is why they're more violent than men, because they're so emotional. Now, so when I say they have no incentive to behave, I mean no incentive to behave. With kids, you incentivize them to behave, right? They do something bad, there's a consequence, right? But if you get married, no consequence. What can you do? You can't do anything. It's not like you can leave them. You leave them, it doesn't matter. They don't lose anything. They gain. This is the interesting thing about marriage. It used to be there were consequences to marriage. It was very difficult, and the woman wouldn't get any reward unless she could prove serious wrongdoing on his part. You couldn't even get married unless you could prove some kind of wrongdoing on his part. There was a legally acceptable reason. So, now you get rewarded. See, this is the thing about incentive. Not only is divorce something that involves no consequences for a woman, but she actually gets rewarded for doing it, which right there should tell you that the society has become anti-man and wants to transfer all the wealth to women because they're so irresponsible. That's what happens when you live in a debt-based society. And then you give all these women the right to vote. So, yeah, now you've incentivized divorce. So, it's a bad deal. If you don't get married, though, but you keep the hope alive that it might happen, that it's a possibility, she will behave. Because she loses you, she loses you. She doesn't get anything out of it. And if she likes you, she's got incentive to behave. Okay? It's really that simple. It's a matter of incentive. Another reason is traditional gender roles. As a man, if you get married, you will be expected to perform all of your traditional male gender roles. What do I mean by that? Well, let's discuss the traditional male gender roles. As a man, you will be expected to do all of the heavy lifting. Anything that literally is heavy that needs to be lifted, you'll be the one doing it. Anything needs to be fixed, you'll be the one fixing it. You got a house with a lawn, grass will need to be cut. If you need to get a house, you'll have to be the one buying it. You'll be buying the rings. It's another reason not to get married right there. I'll, break off from that and discuss that almost separately, but that's also connected to the traditional male role. You'll be expected to buy uber expensive rings, engagement rings, and the wedding rings for both of you. Because you're not going to see her going to the jewelry store and either buying a retail piece of jewelry or buying something bespoke and then giving it to you. It's not going to happen. Women want equality, except for the things that men traditionally do, because those are all the most difficult things. And, well, they want all the positives, but none of the negatives. So anything that requires difficulty, heavy lifting, uncomfortable things that you must do, you're going to be the one doing them. But she, as a liberated woman, will not do any of the traditional female roles because those were imposed on her by patriarchy and they are oppressive to women. So now you must do those as well. Oh boy! So if you sign up for the wonderful, wonderful marriage idea, if you sign up for that, you're going to have to do your work and her work too. Meaning that you're going to have to go to work all day and then come home and take care of the kids. Even though she has no job. But you should be doing half of her work as well. Doesn't that sound great? No, it sucks. So don't do it. So, what about cooking and cleaning and managing the household and taking care of kids? Nah. You'll be expected to help out around the house, including your full-time job. Next reason, of course, is obvious. I already mentioned this. You'll lose half your stuff. Even if you don't get divorced, everything you own is half of hers now. Just think about that. Doesn't that sound wonderful? I mean, the day before you got married, you owned 100% of your corporation. Now, you're a 50% owner. And what do you get from giving her 50%? Nothing. And some men might say, yeah, well, I get 50% of her stuff too. Yeah, what does she own? What do women generally own? I mean, women tend to use their money as mad money. When do women buy or invest in anything, buy anything that it holds its value, buy it as an investment or invest in anything or have any real money saved? They don't. And they waste all their money in makeup and clothes. And I mean, women don't save. Men save to get women. So what are you getting? You're getting 50% of nothing from her. And she's getting 50% of whatever you have is a hell of a lot more than what she's got. So how is that a good deal? Next reason. You have to put up with crap. You have to put up with her crap. Because now you got no choice. You have no choice. You see, where before you had a choice. Because if you're not married, you could just walk out. What the hell can she do? Unless you're stupid enough to live with her. Another video I'll probably make about that. But unless you're stupid enough to live with her, you can just leave. She can't do anything. So, again, as I said, she has incentive to behave before. But once you sign that contract, you'd have to put up with any crap she gives you. And she's more likely to give you crap because she knows you can't leave. Which brings me to my next reason why you do not get married. She will change. She will change. Yes. She will. When women get married, they change. And not for the better. Okay? So many women are narcissistic and have sociopathic tendencies that, they oftentimes hide who and what they really are until you get married. So why find out? Just don't get married. Because if you do get married, the odds are she will not be the same person after the marriage that she was before. Which brings me to my next reason not to get married. Less sex. This has been documented. You hear jokes about it all the time on TV, and it's absolutely true. If you get married, you will get less sex. I don't know how many guys I've talked to who are thinking about getting married or planning to get married, whether it be family members in the past or guys now, talking about getting married, they think they're going to get more sex. They really, really believe that if they get married, they'll have more access. And she's even telling him, yeah, I'll do so much more for you when you get married. We get married, oh, we'll have so much more freedom and I'll feel so much less inhibited. And it's like, he's like, wow, I'm going to get even more access once we get married. No, no, you will not. This is a myth spread by feminists, okay? To try and equalize men and women, because all feminists, the serious feminists, the really hardcore ones, all want to be men. So they spread these kind of myths that women have the same sex drive as men. They want sex just as much. Yeah, it's bullshit, okay? Generally speaking, and I can tell you this from personal experience and talking to tons and tons of guys and just seeing firsthand and just common sense, that women do not want sex as much as men. Not even close. They pretend they do, but you have to remember that women are the laziest creatures on earth. They are super, super lazy. And when you're not in a relationship, okay, it seems like, you're getting sex frequently, but really how often? You don't live together if you're a smart guy. And so it's occasionally you're getting sex, right? I mean, you're seeing her when she wants sex. You're not living with her. You don't know what she's like the rest of the time. So you don't really have any idea. You're just thinking to yourself, yeah, she's real fun and into sex because you're having sex with her. Yeah, you're having sex when she wants to have sex. When she doesn't want to have sex, you being married will make no difference. And you'll find that out if you're dumb enough to get married, which you better not. You do not want to find this out, because you will, and you will be very, very, very frustrated, and it won't make any difference. I have a headache, I don't feel like it. I mean, it makes no difference. Women have become so empowered. In their minds, they don't have to put any work. They become so entitled. They mistake that for empowerment. And they become so entitled, they just think they don't have to put any work into the marriage, and they will not put any extra effort in. There's not going to be any extra effort. You men have to understand that. Getting married will result in zero more sex. In fact, it will result in less sex. Because now, she doesn't feel like she has to do any more work to get you and keep you. You see, you've already signed the contract, like the dummy you are. So now, she's got you. She's got you legally. She's got you in every way that matters. She's got you by the balls. And you can't leave, because if you do, what does she care? She'll just take all your shit. So she's a winner either way. She stays, she just continues to be who she is, but even more so because now she has no incentive to behave and give you what you want, to get you to sign the papers, because she's already gotten you to do that. Or she leaves, in which case, so what? She continues to have a nice lifestyle, and maybe even better. She gets the alimony, and if you have kids, she gets the child support too, which is oftentimes way more than is needed to take care of a child. So there's no downside for her. It's just downside for you. You know, women, next reason is you are really just a human wallet to a woman. You need to understand this. And this is just really a summary of everything we've just discussed. That for most women, you need to understand this, guys, that you are just a human wallet. She sees you as somebody who's going to provide for her. If she likes you, that's great. But the more money you have, the more resources you have, the less concerned she's going to be about how much she likes you. So it would be nice if she liked you a lot, but if you have enough resources, she'll just modify who she is just enough to get you to marry her, and then the real her comes out. But once she's got you married, that's it. And society incentivizes her along this path of marriage and divorce. It legitimizes it and holds it up as some kind of virtue among women. Like it's perfectly fine to do this, which I consider abuse of men, because it's almost like it is trickery, in fact, because many times women marry guys they don't love. They just marry him because they have money, and I'll act however I want afterwards because I don't like him anyway, so I'll just divorce him after I've been married to him long enough to get a big piece of his pie. And some of you out there might be saying, oh, no, not my girl. You know, yeah, I'm sure you've got, and this is the problem with most men. They let the little head overcome the big one, and they believe they found that unicorn. Now, unicorns are rare. Of course, unicorns don't actually exist. That's why a lot of guys who are aware and awake use it as an example for the perfect woman, or even a good woman, because there's so few of them. And yeah, there is that rare unicorn out there, but odds are the lady you're with, she ain't it. And you need to wake up to that right now, pal. And don't get married. Whoever you are listening right now, if you're somebody thinking about getting married, don't. Because it will likely end in divorce. And I got a 1 in 2 chance of being right. And by the way, studies have been done on happiness among married men. And among those people who stay married, only about 8% are actually happy. So more than 50%, 50% or more of marriages end in divorce. And I'm talking about the people who stay married. Well, that half that do stay married, only 8% of the men have reported being happy. 8%. That right there should tell you a little something about marriage. That only a very small percentage of human beings are actually suited for marriage. And you know, there's other systems that would work perfectly fine. The end of marriage will not be the end of civilization. There are other systems, other ways of forming a family that would work just fine. And I think this is a discussion that needs to be had and talked about. because marriage is far from the ideal, especially today, and especially with feminism, and especially with so-called equality among the sexes, even though men and women are in no way equal. So marriage is a bad deal. She will change. She will get fat. She will not want sex very much anymore, if at all. You will lose your privacy. You will lose your freedom. If you get divorced, which is a very big possibility, you will lose half your shit and probably end up paying alimony for a long time, or possibly forever if you're married a long time. And if you have kids, she'll get custody and you might never see them again, and you'll still have to pay for them. And you will be expected to do all of the traditional male roles because it's good for her. If it was bad for her, that would have changed as feminism grew. But it was good for her that that stays in place. But her roles that are bad for her in her mind, like actually having to perform traditional female roles, well, no, you'll have to do those as well. So, all in all, and she'll become a bitch, basically, because you have signed the papers. And she has no incentive anymore to behave, and since she has no impulse control and has been raised to be spoiled and entitled, you are now someone she can abuse ad infinitum because, hey, no consequences, and actually she's incentivized to do that because a divorce would be in her favor. So it's like she's getting rewarded for treating you like crap and ending the marriage. So why on earth would any sane man get married? Listen to me, young men, and listen to me good. Marriage is bad for you. Do not do it just because your parents are pushing you to, just because they want grandkids. You can adopt. There's other ways. There's surrogates. There's other ways to have kids of your own. There's plenty of kids out there that need parents who you can be a parent to. You do not need to get a woman. And studies have actually shown, there has been now research, there's enough single fathers out there that studies have been done on them to show that their children do just as well as kids from two-parent households, while it's the kids from single mother households that are the ones that end up being messed up. So a single father, generally speaking, is just as good as a two-parent house. And I attribute that personally to his greater logic reasoning skills and his increased impulse control. And he's a grown-up, not a child raising children. Which is why single-parent households with women do so badly, because you don't have a man there. And that stabilizing influence is key. So there's no negative to not getting married. It's all positives. But if you as a man get married, all the horrible things I just summarized are likely to come true. And if not all of them, some of them. And you only have about an 8% chance of being happy. Less than that, because 8% of only half of people who stayed married. So, very small possibility that you will even stay married. And even smaller chance than that, much smaller, that you'll be happy. So why do it? Don't be shamed. Don't let yourself be guilted into it by people who are miserable and they want company. Don't let women try to shame you into getting married. Don't do it. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Please like and subscribe, and take care.